The great white shark and saltwater crocodile are two of the most ferocious predators in the world. They are powerful animals perfectly designed for one thing: killing. Each of these species has been known to hunt the other when a size disparity exists, but we are interested in a fight between two full-size specimens. Which one would win in a fight to the death? Before we reveal the winner, let's familiarize ourselves with the two competitors. Description and size. The saltwater crocodile is the largest crocodilian species in the world. They are known to grow to be 23 feet long and weigh 2,200 pounds, but experts believe they can reach weights close to 4,000 pounds. Their tails make up about half their length and are crucial for movement since they have relatively small legs. The skin of a croc is thick and scaly, which provides protection against predators. Young saltwater crocodiles are generally more pale, with adults varying in color from black to a pale yellow to a rich green. Salties have 64 to 68 teeth made for gripping, with the longest ones approaching 4 to 5 inches. The location of their eyes, ears, and nose on the top of their heads makes it easy for them to breathe air while being fully submerged. The great white shark is one of the most recognizable shark species in the world. They are the largest predatory fish, reaching 21 feet in length and weights of 4,500 pounds. White sharks are a part of the mackerel shark family, including the mako shark, salmon shark, and the porbeagle shark. From below, their white bellies allow them to blend in with the sunlit water, and from above, their brown or gray topsides better blend in with the dark depths of the ocean. Great whites have 7 rows of serrated 2.5-inch teeth totaling 300. Unlike the saltwater crocodile, a great white shark's frame is made from cartilage, which is lighter and offers more flexibility. Range and habitat. Saltwater crocodiles are found in northern Australia, parts of eastern India, and throughout Southeast Asia. They occupy both salt and freshwater environments, spending little time on land. Individuals have been spotted deep in the ocean, but for the most part they remain close to shore. Great white sharks are migratory and can be found in pretty much every ocean in the world. They spend most of the year in temperate and tropical waters, in places such as Australia, South Africa, Florida, and California. Smaller sharks stay in shallow coastal waters, while large sharks venture into the open ocean. Life expectancy and population. The average lifespan of a saltwater crocodile is about 70 years, while the average lifespan of a great white shark is just a few years longer. Experts predict that the population of wild salties is somewhere in the hundreds of thousands. Meanwhile, the great white shark population is considered to be vulnerable, since their population is predicted to be a little over 10,000. Diet and hunting. Both of these carnivores eat a wide range of animals. If it's smaller than them, odds are they are on the menu. This includes smaller specimens from the same species. Saltwater crocodiles usually hunt at night, but if an opportunity presents itself during the day, they will take advantage of it. They usually eat fish, mammals, and birds, but are capable of taking down and consuming sharks and humans. Some of the larger mammals they prey on include buffalo, deer, and cattle. Crocodiles are the perfect ambush predators. They sense disturbances in the water, such as an animal drinking, and approach slowly. The croc will swim with just the top of its head out or completely underwater to avoid being spotted. Then they will propel themselves at their prey and lock their jaws on whatever they can grab. They take their prey into the water and drown it, then rip off chunks to swallow. Crocodiles have the most acidic stomach of vertebrates, which can fully digest bones, horns, hooves, and shells. On average, they consume about 50 full meals a year, but can survive over a year without eating by becoming dormant and breaking down their own tissue. Great white sharks are mostly active at dawn and dusk, but they are also opportunistic hunters. They feed on fish, sea mammals, rays, and even whales. Seals and sea lions are a white shark's favorite meal, but they won't pass up a whale carcass. Sharks detect prey by sensing smells and disturbances in the water. When hunting, great white sharks also use the element of surprise. They position themselves below, then use their flexible tails to propel themselves toward their prey at high speeds. Their teeth are perfect for ripping through flesh and causing fatal wounds. When attacking larger prey, they use their razor-sharp teeth to inflict a horrific wound to disable their victim and cause them to bleed out. Then they return to rip off chunks, thus avoiding potential injuries. After a big meal, they can last a couple months without eating too much. Even in poor visibility conditions, these predators have fine-tuned senses that allow them to detect prey. Behavior and temperament. All crocodiles are cold-blooded, meaning they must gather heat from their environment. They sunbathe when it's cool and submerge in the water when it heats up. They sleep for most of the day and have a unique ability to shut off only half their brain. This means they can keep one eye open so they can still detect threats while resting. Salties primarily live solitary lives but have been known to gather for feeding. Saltwater crocs are aggressive and will defend their hunting grounds from other crocs. Great white sharks are partially warm-blooded but still migrate to warmer waters. Great whites use ram ventilation, meaning they have to swim for water to flow over their gills. This means they can't stop swimming even when sleeping, or else they will drown. They also live mostly solitary lives except when it comes time for mating. Great white sharks are one of the most aggressive shark species responsible for the most unprovoked attacks and fatalities on humans. Impressive abilities. Saltwater crocodiles can bite down with a force of at least 3,700 psi. They have reserve teeth underneath that will quickly replace lost teeth. Some individuals go through more than 3,000 teeth in their lifetime. The tail of a crocodile is composed of solid muscle, which helps it be a strong swimmer and propels it out of the water. Although their tails can only do this for a short time, they can leap out of the water up to half their body length. Crocodiles can travel long distances in the open ocean, covering as much as 560 miles in a single trip. In short bursts, they can swim at 15 to 18 miles per hour and run at 7.5 to 8.5 miles per hour. Saltwater crocodiles can hold their breath for up to 8 hours, and they can still open their mouths underwater because of a valve that seals their throat. The ability crocodiles are known for the most is the death roll. Using its teeth specifically designed for gripping, a crocodile will grab a limb then begin rapidly spinning to tear that limb off the victim. Saltwater crocodiles have excellent hearing and transparent eyelids that allow them to see underwater. A computer model in 2008 estimated that a full-size great white shark could bite down with 4,000 psi of force, but this has never actually been verified in the field. Just like with crocs, teeth are constantly replaced for the shark's whole life. A great white's teeth are detached from their jaw, allowing them to protract their teeth when biting. This leads to a more damaging bite. The top speed of these torpedo-shaped sharks is 35 miles per hour in short bursts. Great white sharks are known to breach, leaping close to 10 feet into the air in pursuit of prey. They achieve this thanks to their very muscular and flexible bodies. The great white can detect a single drop of blood from up to a third of a mile away. They also use electromagnetism and hearing to detect the movement of prey. Strengths and weaknesses. Crocodiles are semi-aquatic animals, but this comes at a price. They aren't the quickest and most agile on land, and the same goes in the water. For this fight, ideally they would have fins instead of legs, but since they heavily rely on their tails for movement, they can lose a leg and still be just as effective. But being semi-aquatic also means that they can go on land to rest or escape. Obviously, they can't breathe underwater. When fighting for its life, it will use lots of oxygen and that will require going to the surface. Crocodiles look to be impenetrable, but that is actually not the case. Their skin can stop small bullets, but isn't invincible. The most vulnerable part of a crocodile's skin is its belly and area under the limbs. Although salties have an insane bite force, their opening force is extremely weak. On top of this, a saltwater crocodile's teeth are designed to grip, not to slice through flesh and bone, but they have spines that can. Relatively speaking, a crocodile's mouth is small. This is perfect for removing limbs, but not effective against very large animals. The eyes of a crocodile are close together and point forward, which lets them be very accurate in terms of distance, but leaves them vulnerable from the sides and rear. Crocodiles are very powerful in short bursts, but don't have stamina. They will struggle in long engagements because it takes a lot of energy to fight. A great white is able to cruise for long periods of time and then accelerate in a matter of seconds. These sharks are moving the entire day and are much more effective swimmers than crocs. Not to mention, their teeth are designed to rip through flesh. The serrations on the teeth are there to create the worst wounds possible. Great whites also have much larger jaws that allow them to get their mouths on larger animals. On the flip side, great whites are not as resilient to injury as a crocodile. If they lose a fin, they will bleed heavily, but if it loses 2 fins or its tail, then it will bleed out or sink and die. That is why their strategy revolves around a quick attack where it inflicts a horrific wound to disable the target, then retreats to avoid risking a potential fatal injury. Previous fights. Both of these animals are prey and predators to each other depending on their size. There are no records of large specimens going head to head. This is likely because they will choose to avoid each other in the wild. They usually don't risk fighting when they can hunt something easier and smaller. Potential scenarios. In this video we will put up a full-size saltwater crocodile up against a full-size great white shark. So that means we have a 23-foot saltwater croc weighing 2,200 pounds versus a 21-foot great white weighing 4,500 pounds. A fight between a great white shark and a saltwater crocodile is most likely to occur in Southeast Asia, specifically near Australia, where large populations of both competitors exist. We will consider two potential scenarios, a fight in shallow coastal waters and one in the open ocean. This is because salties are known to swim out to the open ocean from time to time, and white sharks come into shallower waters to feed. The winner. Usually these animals would avoid each other and just flee, but we are assuming that when they run into each other in the wild, they will attack with the intent to kill. We will first consider a fight in the open ocean. The great white shark will sense the saltwater crocodile first because its senses are stronger. Then it will position itself under the croc because the croc will be somewhere near the surface. This means the crocodile's belly will be exposed to an attack from below. At this point, the croc will probably have sensed the shark but not seen it yet because of the dark tone of the great white shark's top. Now the shark would start its assault at 35 miles per hour and go for a bite on the crocodile's exposed stomach. This would all happen too fast for the crocodile to be able to react. Then the shark would retreat and continue circling. If the crocodile didn't get fatally wounded, it wouldn't have much options except to try and swim away. This is because it is too slow to launch an attack at the shark. The shark can easily avoid any attempt from the croc and wait until the crocodile tires. If it does decide to flee, the top swimming speed of the salty is only 18 miles per hour, which the crocodile can't keep up for long, so the great white will easily catch up. At this point, the shark will come in for the second attack and bite down with an estimated bite force of 4,000 psi. This second bite should probably be enough to kill the crocodile. The crocodile is an ambush predator, but it doesn't have the element of surprise and is fully exposed with no escape. Simply put, the crocodile never stood a chance. Even if the bite force is half of the prediction by the computer model, a few bites would do more than enough damage to the croc. Now we will consider a fight in shallower water where the seafloor is in view. This means after the first rush from the shark, the crocodile can drop down to the seafloor and protect its vulnerable areas. Now it is in a defensive position where it can try to fend off attacks. The spines on a crocodile's back will be effective in damaging the underbelly of the shark, but the shark is agile enough to avoid hitting them. The only parts of the shark that the crocodile can target due to its mouth size are the fins and tail. The crocodile would need to dodge the oncoming shark's jaws and then get a good grip on a fin. If the croc manages to do all this, it then has to do the death roll in order to cause any sort of damage to the shark. Even if the crocodile managed to do this incredibly agile stunt, it would struggle to spin while a great white shark is swimming at such high speeds. If the crocodile did remove a fin, then the shark would start losing blood and would struggle steering. This could eventually lead to its death, but the shark would still be able to continue rushing the crocodile. While all this is going on, we need to remember that the crocodile doesn't have gills and has been using up a lot of oxygen to fight off this massive shark. When it inevitably goes up for air, then we are back to the open ocean scenario where I can only see the great white shark winning. A croc will have its best chance when it has cover to ambush the great white shark as it approaches, but even then it will need air eventually. Great white sharks are more prone to serious injury because they are composed of softer tissue, but they are careful and can simply circle the croc until it needs air. Although a crocodile is tougher to kill, the great white simply has the croc beat. I can see the great white shark winning 80 to 90% of all encounters. In all these interactions, the saltwater crocodile will always be on the defensive and trying to regroup, while the great white shark is attacking repeatedly with lots of speed and power. Great white sharks are active hunters that are always moving, while crocodiles have to wait for an animal to come into range before they can strike. Of course, the situation will rarely play out in nature because salties usually stay close to shore and will simply try to escape to land. In summary, crocodiles are the perfect predator when it comes to ambushing unsuspecting victims on land, but they are too one-dimensional in order to be dangerous to marine apex predators such as the great white shark. Of course, this video is only speculating because this sort of fight has never actually been documented. But if you think the saltwater crocodile would win, make sure to let me know why in the comments below. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video or learned something new about the wonders of the animal kingdom. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you. Comment on what animal battle you would like to see next. Click here to watch Lion vs Tiger, which one is the true king of the jungle.